All right, so sorry about this morning. I guess I stopped by the office and I was talking to Connie, the secretary, and Miss Burns overheard that I wasn't feeling the best, and she sent me home to get a COVID test. Anyway, I'm back. It's negative, yay. So this video is going to be a little bit longer than normal because I'm going to recap, hopefully, what Connor and Alana did today, if they were able to explain it. If they did, great. I appreciate it. If you guys are still kind of not sure about it, that's what this video is for. I'm just going to run through that lesson again and then roll into the second one. I'll put like a timestamp or something so you guys can skip to the second half if you're okay with that. I was going to teach both of these today. Sorry about all the ums. I'm a little winded here. I wanted to teach this longer lesson and us have some time to work together, and it just didn't happen. If you guys are struggling with this, just bring it back on Friday and we can work through it start to finish. So whatever you're comfortable with. So completing the square, I kind of came up with these little step-by-steps here, and maybe this will help. First things first, to complete the square, you have to have space in which to complete it. So any constant that is hanging out after the x term, just a number, I'm going to move that guy over to the other side of the equal sign. So I added this one because it was negative. If it was negative, you would subtract. Just get that guy out of there. And what that leaves you is a hole in your equation. And I've got an 82 on the right here. I'm going to fill that hole in with the constant that completes the square. So to complete the square, take half of this number. Right, this is all in your head. Half of negative 2 is negative 1, and you square that. So negative 1 squared is positive 1. So I'm going to have positive 1 to both sides. So now I've moved this. I completed the square. Now I'm going to factor the left-hand side. This is going to factor into x minus 1 squared. This number here is always half of that middle number. Okay? So there's... you take half and you square it, so you never really write the number down until you factor it. But it is that number, that negative 1. Oh, poop. There we go. All right. The right-hand side is just 83. Okay, so I factored the left-hand side. Now, I'm going to take the square root of both sides of this. Square root of the left, square root of the right. When I take the square root of the left, I'm square rooting a perfect square. So that just spits out what was in the parentheses, and my right-hand side is positive negative root 83. Under that root, check and see if it's a perfect square. A lot of times it will be. Check and see if it will simplify. A lot of times it will. I don't believe 83 simplifies. So now I'm going to get rid of my 1 by adding it to both sides. So my answers are 1 plus minus square root 83. All right? So your answer should look like that. You're going to have a number plus or minus, maybe a square root, maybe a simplified square root, maybe a whole number. This last part of it just kind of depends on how your square root works out. Okay, that's it. That's done. Those are your answers. So I'm going to get rid of that. I've got another one hiding here. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to get rid of my 28. So that's n squared minus 12n equals negative 20 on the right. All right, half of negative 12 is negative 6. Squared is 36. So I'm going to add that here. All right, left side factors, n minus 6 squared. Right side is 16. Square root, n minus 6 is positive and negative 4. Add 6, n is 6 plus or minus 4. That one's done. If you want to split that up into the two separate answers, 10 and 2, go for it. You don't have to for me. Actually, it's a little bit easier if you leave them like that for me to grade. Okay, that's it. Make a hole, complete your complete your perfect square, and then kind of finish up on the process. I'm going to skip this one because basically the hole's already there. You'll just need to fill that in. This is the one that is new. This is the one that is new. Okay, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to move the 53 to the other side. So that leaves me 3v squared plus 18v equals, 48 here on the right. Now, to be able to complete the square, your leading term, your v squared, x squared, y squared, whatever that squared term is out front, has to start with a 1. I can't have coefficients in front of the squared term and do this completing the square process. So I'm going to divide out that 3 from everything. When I do that, that leaves my v squared, 6v. I still have that hole there that I'm going to have to fill in, and then 16 on the right. Right? Everything divided by 3. Sometimes, most of the time, those will work out nice like that. The second half of this lesson is where they don't. Right? So my guy here factors. What's half of 6 is 3 plus squared is 9, and add 9 to this side. So this guy factors into v plus 3 squared and 25 on the right. So v plus 3 equals positive and negative 5. Subtract 3. There we go. Okay. It is really the same process. Like 80% of this is exactly the same. You just have to deal with that leading coefficient. And the problems I picked on the first assignment, the one that you got today, you have to you have to create that hole before you divide by 3. Otherwise, 53 and 5 divided by 3, that's not going to quite work out. Okay. One more example like that real quick. I think you guys will kind of pick up on this. So same thing here. I'm going to get rid of my 48. So that is 7x squared minus 14x equals, that's 56. Divide everything by 7. So I've got x squared minus 2x. Leave my hole in there, and 8 on the right. Let's see. Half of negative 2 squared is 1 plus 1. Oh, good. That's 9. So x minus 1 squared equals 9. So x minus 1, right, when I do the root now, is plus minus 3. So x is 1 plus or minus 3. Okay, so your answers are 4 and negative 2. I was going to run together and just make one big video. I'm going to stop this one and do a separate one. Okay, like I said, if you guys are struggling with this, hang on to it until Friday and we can run through it when we're back together in class. If you're cool with it, keep going, and